We're going to be talking to you about 8 countries in the Arab Spring. The first one that we're going to start talking to you about is called Tunisia, the spark that started it all. Through December 2011, a series of violent demonstrations in the streets of Tunisia began. Crowds of angry people were protesting against the president, Zine al-Abidine Ben Ali. The reasons for these demonstrations was caused by high unemployment, food inflation, and lack of freedom of speech. The protests lasted for at least 3 decades and result of many deaths and injuries. The second country that we're going to be talking to you about is going to be Egypt. The Egypt Revolution. Protests in Egypt started January 25th, 2011 and lasted for 18 days. The Egyptian government attempted to eliminate all internet access. Later that day, thousands protested in the streets. February 2011, after daily protests, President Hosni Mubarak resigns and hands power to the army led by Field Marshal Hussein Tatawai. About 850 people died in the unrest. June 2011, clashes between protesters and security forces engulfed Cairo once again as the fierce streets battle since the fall of Hosni Mubarak left dozens injured. Mohamed Morsi was Egypt's first civilian and Islamic president, but lasted only 1 year in power before being hosted by the military on July 3rd, 2011. When he came to power in June 2012 after a narrow election, Mr. Morsi promised to lead a government for all Egyptians, but people soon realized that wasn't all true. Angry citizens said he handled the economy wrong and failed to deal with important issues. Huge crowds in Tahrir Square demanded Morsi to resign. In November 2013, Mr. Morsi went on trial, charged with inciting murder and violence. His trial was adjourned until January 2014. Then in December, new charges of revealing state secrets to a foreign country, sponsoring terrorism, and carrying out military training were added. The new charges carried the death penalty.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فتحت الجلسة. انت مين عني؟ انت عارف انا فين؟ انا رئيس محكمة جنايات مصر.
حقق مقصدهم نهبوا ما بمخازنها من أسلحة وذخائر وثروة حيوانية وداجنة وأساسات.
ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين.
Bahrain's 2011 uprising was largely suppressed by government forces after a 3-month state of emergency. August 14th also happens to be Bahrain's Independence Day. The opposition, which is now called itself the Bahraini Tahrir or Rebel, after the Egyptian movement that helped topple the government of President Mohamed Morsi. In the past 6 months, Bahrain's authorities have rounded up to over 1,000 people, including protesters, social media activists, and ordinary citizens. The tension in the teeny Gulf country and the potential further violence there still remains. The Liberian Revolution, February 17th. A small gathering of protests demanding the release of a human rights lawyer flares into a violent anti-regime demonstration in the eastern Libyan city of Benghazi. Rebels controlling eastern Libya's main towns announced an offensive against the capital, Tripoli. The West helps in Libyan's aid. Burst into government headquarters in Tripoli during a protest against the suspicions of bounty payments to groups that have fought against the Gaddafi government. Security forces restore order.
The gathering of thousands. Thousands gather inside the University of Sana'a and call for the ouster of President Allah Abdullah Saleh. The regime responded by offering interminable talks, promising concessions, and threatening deliverance of violence. The slaughter of peaceful protesters in Sana'a caused a schism both within the ruling General People Congress and President Saleh Sahani's clan. Saleh announced he would not run for re-election in 2013 and that he would not pass power to his son. More people protested against the government in Sana'a and Aden in a day of rage. On January 26, 2011, in Syria, and escalated to an ongoing internal conflict. The wave of Arab Springs that began with the Tunisian Revolution in 2011 reached Syria in mid-March, when residents of a small southern town of Daraa took to the streets to protest the torture of students who had put up anti-government graffiti. The unrest spread to other parts of the country.
Is this the end of the Arab Spring? That's what we all want to know. With a state of emergency declared in Egypt, continued unrest in Bahrain, democracy under threat in Tunisia, Libya, and possibly even Turkey, and an all-out civil war in Syria. Is there any hope left for anti-authoritarian movement that swept through the Middle East? Stay tuned, we'll let you know.